Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib made an astonishing demand today: bring back Jim Crow. We're not overstating that. She said she wants people hired or fired from their jobs solely on the basis of their skin color. Kind of remarkable. Chief Breaking News correspondent Trace Gallagher has more on this story. Hey, Trace.
Tucker, Congressmember Rashida Tlaib is on the record saying she opposes facial recognition technology because she thinks it misidentifies a disproportionate number of darker-skinned people, even though the technology works on facial measurements, not race or gender. When the Detroit Police Department started using the technology in its new crime center, Tlaib wrote this on Twitter: "Detroit police, you should probably rethink this whole facial recognition BS," though she used the whole word. So the police chief invited her down for a tour, which became combative. Watch.
Analysts need to be African Americans, not people that are not. I think non-African Americans think African Americans all look the same. I've seen it even on the House floor, people calling Elijah Cummings John Lewis and John Lewis Elijah Cummings, and they're totally different people.
The police chief responded that he trusts people who are trained regardless of their race, but Tlaib again pushed the idea of a built-in bias. The chief later said many of his staff members, black and white, told him they were outraged by Tlaib's remarks. Tucker.
Thanks, Trace. James Craig is the chief of police of the city of Detroit, and he joins us tonight. Chief, thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Hey, how you doing, Tucker? Glad to be here.
Really well. What did you make of this demand from the Congresswoman?
You know, it's disturbing, delusional. There's nothing to it. The key points that keep getting missed in the conversation over facial recognition is we understand that the technology is flawed. We have built in safeguards, and I can't speak for other police departments.
Yes.
But the safeguards are we have trained analysts, professionals, and then it's peer-reviewed by yet a second analyst, and then only after that does a supervisor come in and concur with their findings. And so we understand that if we let the technology run on its own, there's going to be misidentifications. We recognize it. But what the Congresswoman misses, she never talks about the victims, and the cases that we've solved, some pretty big cases involving mass murder suspect. It's almost as if, well, does it really matter? It's a deflection, and it's constant. And, you know, most Detroiters, and I will tell you, not just Detroiters, but across this country, over the last 48 hours, I've gotten so many messages from Americans saying, we support you, we know what you're doing, stand your ground.
So just to be clear, your employees who screen this information, who interpret the data, don't have to be of a specific race in order to do their jobs? Absolutely not.
They get the same training. They're professionals. And you know what it's akin to, Tucker? It's almost as if saying, okay, a white police officer cannot work in an African-American community. I've been in this business 42 years, and I've always worked in diverse police departments. L.A., for example. Black and white police officers working together very effectively. Now, that doesn't mean that there are individuals that are going to do bad things, both black, white, brown. And so her statement was based on nothing. She provided me what she calls a peer-reviewed study about why blacks tend to better recognize other blacks. But what's missing in the study, it has nothing to do with the professional training that analysts get. And as you indicated, Tucker, measurements. It's not about race. It's biometric training based on measurements.
Well, exactly. I mean, I should point out to our viewers who might not know, I believe you were the police chief of Portland, Maine. It was one of the one of the whitest cities in America, and a very popular and very successful chief of police there. So it's not about race. It's about competence.
It's about,
Chief, thanks so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you, Tucker.